Speaking of controversial topics, today we're going to be making another controversial topic, and that is about David Austin roses. And we're going to ask, are David Austin roses really worth it? And in my opinion, there might be some arguments for why that is not the case, but stay with me here and we'll go over them. The first argument I'm going to make is simply the price of David Austin roses. Like, let's go to the website here. As you can see, as we go down the website here, you can see a David Austin rose easily costs over £30, oftentimes charging around £33 to £35. And that is easily like 3 times more than a lot of other rose breeders. There's so many rose breeders that will charge like €10 or something like that for a rose. So you're already, for an Austin rose, you're already paying a hefty premium. And the question then becomes, are you getting a premium rose? And that is much more difficult to answer, because I think in the Austin assortment, if you say there's about the last 20 years or so, he's produced a few hundred roses. And I think I would say out of those few hundred, I would personally say about, this might be low, I would say 10 of them are favorites of mine, 20 of them are good enough for me to see some use for them. But remember, that is out of 200 roses, nearly. So, what is my main argument here? My main argument is you can get a lot of €10 roses if you're in Europe, sometimes even lower. Some places they even charge you like €5 if you're lucky. And my point is, are the Austin roses really worth 3 times the price point? And to be honest with you, I don't always think they are, because if you take a lot of good roses from mainland Europe, there are some varieties that are just as good as the Austin roses that's really costing you 1/3 less. And there's also some varieties that are, I would say, in some ways even better. Like, take Princess Charlene de Monaco, like such an amazing Milan rose. Take something like Goethe from Tantau, a really amazing German rose. And take something like the Danish rose, Mom in a Million, a really amazing rose too from Paulson. And these are just examples of mainland European roses that are sold much cheaper than the Austin roses. Sometimes you can be lucky and get them like 1/3 cheaper. And if you really think about it, if you're getting a rose 1/3 cheaper, you can get 3 of that variety and form a large bush. And that is really something to think about, isn't it? Because if you're starting out with roses and you want to build rose collection fast, then the David Austin roses won't really give you the most bang for your buck, because they're expensive roses. But if you pick these really good mainland European ones that are really cheap, you can make a large selection of roses pretty fast. But I think there is one area where an Austin rose is totally worth it, and that is sometimes for if you're needing a rose to be in a pot, because Austin roses often have this more full, round look, and that lends itself particularly well to pots. So I actually think that Austin roses, I think, are totally worth it if you get the right variety and you have an idea where you want to create a pot or something that's looking real beautiful. And I think they're worth it in that case. But I also think a lot of the Austin varieties where you're paying like £35 is, if it had come from another rose breeder, a lot of those roses would have been called average. Like, they would have passed under people's radar. Of course, you have some amazing varieties from Austin. You have Olivia Austin, you have Princess Anne, your Eustacia Wise, Silas Mana, you have Woolton Old Hall. There's so many good varieties of Austin Roses, Hollow Car, Country Pass, and I could continue, but add them all up, and you're not really going past 20 good roses. So the problem is you have like 10% of the Austin segment that's really worth having, but often what you find when you go shopping Austin roses is you find a lot of the other varieties that's not really worth getting, to be honest. And so this is simply my way of saying don't just pull down everything from the store shelf because it says David Austin on the side of it. Really think about the different breeders and what their best roses are, because you have to think of it in terms of like I'm trying to do sometimes with my tier list. I'm trying to give people a frame of reference so that when they're out in the store they know, oh, this Tanta rose over here is an S tier, but this Austin rose is only placed on the B tier. And then they're like, it's probably better for me to choose the S tier from Tanta than the B tier from Austin. But also opposite, if you have a B tier from Tantau and an S tier from Austin, then it's better to choose the Austin rose. And what I'm really trying to create is a system where we can place these roses in a ranking based on how good they are. So more people can make the right choice when they're out selecting roses, but also so a lot of these more small breeders that don't have the advertisement money, that don't have the huge commercial industry that Austin has, also gets a chance to get more people to see their roses, because a lot of these more small rose growers don't get a lot of attention. Like Austin is very good at creating attention for their roses, and it is sometimes amazing that Milan, Tantau, Cordes, and even Paulson roses here in Denmark that sells 50 million roses a year don't do more to advertise their roses. And I actually think that creates a bit of an unfair market sometimes, where the Austin roses get probably more expensive than they should be. Kind of like the designer clothes. If there's a designer cloth everybody wants and that's in style, a lot of people will overlook all these other brands, and then 10 years later, then that brand will be out of fashion, and then people will overlook that brand, and then it is this brand over here that's in fashion. And that's why I don't really care so much about if it's an Austin and if it's a Tantau, a Cordes, or if it's a Paulson. I look at it all as European roses. And I think that is really the way to go, because I think the roses should be judged on their own merits. But yeah, let me know what your opinion is, and because I'm quite interested to hear it. But I also think my main gripe is not really the Austin roses in themselves. It's more the modern pricing of Austin roses, because they have gotten much more expensive as of late. Because if you go a few years back, they were much cheaper. Like if you have some of the old catalogs. I don't even know if I have one. Yeah, let me get an old catalog. Just a second here. I think I have one from 2019. So yes, we got a catalog here. 2019. And let's just go look up the pricing here, if I can find some prices. Yeah, we have some prices here. 33, and I think it's 30 and a half here. So it's not too bad of a price hike, but there's also some of the other roses here that are like what is it, 28 pounds or something like that. So there's a bit of a price hike on Austin Roses as of late. Uh, but yeah, take it for what it is. Like, in my opinion, um, there are some roses that are worth getting, but you have to remember, like, take the Danish Rose Mom in a Million. It is a 9 out of 10 on fragrance, and you can probably get 3 of that for one Austin Rose. And take Princess Celine de Monaco. You can easily get 2 of her, maybe even 3 if she's an offer. For one Austin Rose, and again Goethe, and I could continue here because there's so many good European roses. Even I think an even more interesting point is even within England, there's been a bit of how to say it, a bit of a more focus on Austin roses so much that even Harkness roses is suffering a bit, because you have a lot of really good Harkness roses also. You have Shannon's Beauty, for example, an amazing Harkness rose that you could easily often get 3 of also on offer, that, in my opinion, only like maybe 5 Austin roses could compete against, because Shannon's Beauty is an amazing rose. And you also have what is called the white one, Margaret Merrill, another really good Harkness rose. You have Natasha Richardson, and I could really continue here. And it is not just with Harkness roses I could do it. I could do it with a lot of the other rose breeders in England that have quite decent roses. So this is not really to just single out Austin roses, but in general, if I identify in a market that there's one seller that is completely nearly monetized the whole market in the way Austin has because of the advertisement, I will often try my best to explain the other offers on the market, and that is really what I'm trying to do here, because I believe a lot of Austin roses gets too much screen time compared to really their intrinsic value. And don't get me wrong, some of my favorite roses are Austin roses. You have Boscobel, you have Olivia Austin, you have what's his name again? You have Woolton Old Hall. Woolton Old Hall, that's an amazing fragrant rose. It is probably my most favorite Austin rose to date on fragrance. But even that, I only ranked 9 out of 10. But it is the only Austin rose you could argue with me if should be a 10 for me. But if you look at some of the other rose breeders, I have already given them 10 out of 10. So the old argument that Austin roses always has the best fragrance, that is not really an argument that is holding up anymore. Don't get me wrong though, if you are dealing with breeders like Tantau, Cordes, and even Paulson and even Milan, you have to pick and choose from the assortment, just like you have with, just like you have to do with Austin roses, because, like I said, for example, in Milan, something like Princess Celine de Monaco might be an S tier, Eden Rose might be an S tier, but then you have some roses that are completely not that well, in my opinion, is something like Alba Midland. I don't like that rose because it's supposed to be more of a small bush to a ground cover, but it gets really long stems. And yeah, so there's S tiers and there's more like C tiers and a lot of rose breeders. And I wouldn't stare myself too blind at the name that comes on their package. To be honest, I think something like a very unforgotten rose house, in my opinion, is Delbart Roses. And Delbart doesn't do a lot of roses in a year, but the roses he does put out have often some amazing storytelling. They often have something really unique about them. But it's not the same commotion as the unveiling of Austin Roses at the Chelsea Flower Show. And you will see that with a lot of small rose breeders also. You have something like Noack roses, and you have Noack roses is from Germany, and you have Finogeno from Serbia. And they sometimes make some really stellar roses. Take Noack roses who just made Laudatio, or what's it called, the other one? Something like Never Ending or something. I can't remember. I can't remember the name times. They always have different names from different areas. A lot of time they're called Timeline roses also. But yeah, there's some amazing roses being bred by these more small rose breeders. So really, what I'm trying to explain to people is you have a lot of opportunity out there, and in my opinion, you're at a buffet, and don't just stick to one corner of the buffet. There's so many amazing roses out there, and they really deserve your attention. And if you're in doubt where to start with the different rose breeders, you can go over my ranking list. Like the S tiers in my ranking list are all really good roses, and I'll try to update the rankings as I spot things. For example, this year I had to downgrade Gertrude Jekyll a bit. We had a very dry summer here, and I didn't like the way Gertrude Jekyll behaved with the black spot and other things, as she was stressed out. Don't get me wrong, Gertrude Jekyll is one of my absolute favorite Austin roses on scent. Amazing scent, amazing blooms, amazing reblooming qualities. She is very floriferous. But sadly, the black spot quality from her led me to give her, well, let me say it another way. I was too generous with Gertrude Jekyll to begin with, because she was so impressive on flowering and scent. She was an 8.5 on scent for me out of 10. But I did overjudge her a bit, and that's why I'm degrading her from a S tier to an A tier or A plus tier, sorry, in the Austin assortment, because you can get better roses now, and that is probably also something that sometimes changes the tier list, because sometimes a more healthy rose variety will come along that is very like the old variety, just a little bit healthier, and that's why these tier lists will not remain static. Like, there might be changes to them, but you'll be infinitely better going off these tier lists and your own opinion and your own experience, and also what you personally like, than just going at it alone, in my opinion. And if you're really smart, you can check my tier list against other people's tier lists, maybe check it against 3 or 4 people, and you can see if there's some commonalities. I first did that when I was starting out, and after a little while, you'll know what people recommend, what you like, and that's really a good thing to do, and I wholeheartedly recommend you doing that. But yeah, that was it for today, guys. Let me know your opinion about Austin roses. Are they getting a bit too pricey, and are you only buying Austin roses, or are you buying more from different breeders also? So yeah, take care out there.